Good morning everyone. My name is Vijay Gupta and you're watching biology classes. So students, welcome to all of you in this class of biology. Today I'm going to continue our last topic, that was sexual reproduction. In this video, we will complete the chapter number 1, that is reproduction in organism. So this is the last lecture of your chapter number 1, that is events in sexual reproduction. So let's start the video. First of all, events of sexual reproduction means in organism when the sexual reproduction takes place, then how many types of events are there. So we have classified the events during sexual reproduction into 3 major types, in which the first one is pre-fertilization events. Those events which takes place before fertilization are termed as pre-fertilization events, in which there are 2 major steps. The first one is gametogenesis, another one is the gamet transfer. Gametogenesis means the formation of gametes inside the body of male and female. As we all know that plants or animals produces gametes in their body. As you can see in the diagram, the male produces male gamete while the female produces female gamete. In case of animals, the male gamete is a sperm and the female gamete is ovum. Both the gametes are produced inside the genital organs of male and female, and this phenomenon is known as gametogenesis. In case of sperm formation, it is called as spermatogenesis, while in case of ovum, it is known as oogenesis. So this phenomenon is known as gametogenesis. The second one is gamet transfer. After the formation of gametes or the gametogenesis, the gamet transfers means male and female gametes fuses. Before the fusion, the transfer of gametes is very essential. So this process is known as gamet transfer. Now the second step is fertilization event. Those events which takes during the process of fertilization are termed as fertilization event, means fusion of male and female gamete takes place during the fertilization. Now fertilization is generally of 2 types, external fertilization and internal fertilization. What about the external fertilization? When the fertilization takes place outside of the body, then this type of fertilization is called as external fertilization, such as in many fishes, amphibians, starfish, etc., etc. And the most important advantage of this type of fertilization is that it can produce more number of progenies, but the disadvantage that they are not very safe in the outside environment. So it was the external fertilization which occurs especially in frogs, toads, etc. Now the second one is internal fertilization. What is the internal fertilization? When the fertilization takes place inside the body, internal animal, then this is known as internal fertilization. For example, human, rabbit, cow, goat, etc. all these animals shows internal fertilization. So when the fertilization takes place inside the body, then it is known as internal fertilization. Now the last is post fertilization events. What about the post fertilization events? The post fertilization events are those events which takes place after the process of fertilization. So these are known as post fertilization event, in which zygote formation and embryogenesis occurs. Now we will talk in detail events in sexual reproduction. First of all, I will tell you about the pre-fertilization event. As I told you before that those events which takes place before the process of fertilization are termed as pre-fertilization events. So the number 1 is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis means formation of gametes inside the organism, that may be male or the female. So formation of gametes is known as gametogenesis. Now it occurs in plants as well as in animals. So first of all, I will tell you in plants. As we know that there is a lot of variety in plants. So there are algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, angiosperm. So in all these groups, gametogenesis takes place in a different manner, in a different way. Start with algae. Algae are the photosynthetic group of a small group of plants. So in algae, the gametes are of generally 2 types, isogametes and anisogametes. And the reproduction with the help of isogametes is termed as isogamy, while with the help of anisogametes are termed as anisogamy. Now what is the meaning of isogametes and anisogametes? Isogamete means when both the gametes, male or female, suppose that this one is the male gamete as I have shown and this one is the female. So when the male and female both the gametes are similar in appearance and both are motile, then these types of gametes are known as isogametes, and the reproduction takes place is known as isogamy. Next one is anisogamy. When the male and female gametes are dissimilar, they may be motile or non-motile. Male is generally motile, but female may be non-motile. So in this condition, the male is smaller than the female. This condition is known as anisogamy, or this type of reproduction is known as anisogamy. So it was a case of gametogenesis in plants, especially in algae. Now in bryophytes and pteridophytes both are more developed than the algae. In bryophytes and pteridophytes, the male organ is termed as antheridium, while the female organ is known as archegonium. The male organ, antheridium, is a club-shaped structure. Inside the antheridium, antherozoids are produced, which are the male gametes, while on the other hand, inside the female organ or the archegonium, egg is produced, which is the female gamete. So in bryophyta and pteridophyta, antheridia and archegonia, generally male and female organ. Now in more advanced plant, these are the gymnosperm, microspores and megaspores are the male and female gamete. They are born inside the microsporangia and megasporangia. Both are the male and female organ of gymnosperm. So in gymnosperm, microspore are the male gamete, while the megaspores are the female gamete. Now the most developed group of the plant, that is angiosperm. In angiosperm, we all know that flower is the reproductive organ, and in the flower, male organ is antheridium, while the female organ is oogonium, as I have described before in this chapter. So the pollen grains are the male gamete, which produces inside the antheridium, inside the androecium, which is the male part of a flower, and the ovule, which is the female part of a flower, generally produces inside the gynoecium. So these are male and female gamete in the plants. Now we will talk about the gametogenesis in animals. As I described before, that the male produces male gamete, which are known as the sperm, and the phenomena of formation of a sperm is known as spermatogenesis, which takes place inside the genital organ of male. Now the second one is female. Female produces female gamete, which is known as ovum or the egg, and formation of egg is known as oogenesis, which takes place inside the genital organs of the female. So it was all about the gametogenesis. So after the gametogenesis, the second step is gamet transfer. It is very important to transfer the male and female gamete, and they physically brought together. So the phenomena in which male gamete comes in contact with female gamete is known as gametogenesis. What about the, not gametogenesis, it's gamet transfer. So what about the definition of this term? After the formation of male and female gamete, after the gametogenesis, you can say, so after the formation of male and female gamete, they need to physically brought together. As you can see in the diagram, this is the male gamete and this is the female gamete, and both are physically brought together, female and male, to facilitate fertilization. To complete the process of fertilization, it is very important to come in contact. So to facilitate the fertilization, it is known as gamet transfer. So now you understand what the gamet transfer means. When both the gametes comes in contact with each other, after that the possibility of fertilization. So this is known as gamet transfer. Now it occurs in different ways in plants and animals. In most of the plants, water medium is essential for the process of fertilization or for the process of gamet transfer. Suppose that in algae, bryophyta and pteridophyta, the male gametes are generally motile. They consist of flagella, and with the help of these flagella, these male gametes moves towards the female gamete. So water medium is very essential for the process of fertilization in bryophyta, pteridophyta, algae. But in case of gymnosperm and angiosperm, they are terrestrial plants. So a special phenomena takes place for the transfer of male gamete towards the female gamete, that is called pollination. Pollination is a process in which the pollen grains or the microspores of a flower or a male gamete transfer and deposit it to the stigma of another flower or the female part of the another flower. So this phenomena is known as pollination, and with the help of pollination, male gamete transfer towards the female gamete. It occurs in gymnosperm and angiosperm. So it was about the gamete transfer in plants. Now in case of animals, the gamete transfer takes place through a special process which is called as copulation or the sexual intercourse. When male and female comes in contact with each other, the male releases its male gamete inside the body of female, and after that the process of fertilization completed. So when the male releases its body inside the when the male releases its sperm inside the body of female, then this is the gamete transfer in case of animals. So it was all about the gamete transfer in plants and animals. So students, now we'll talk about the fertilization events. It is the second step in events in sexual reproduction, the fertilization event. As I described before what the fertilization is, but still I will tell you the definition again. Fertilization is a phenomenon in which male and female gamete fuse together and to form a diploid zygote. Now this fertilization takes place inside the body or outside of the body. On the basis of this, the fertilization may be of two types, the external fertilization and the internal fertilization. Now first of all, the external fertilization. What the external fertilization? When the fertilization takes place outside of the body of female, then it is termed as external fertilization, as I described before. Now the definition, it involves the fusion of male and female gametes outside of the female body. It involves the fusion of male and female gamete outside of the female body, so it is the external fertilization. Now another important point, chances of survival of the offsprings are very less. In case of external fertilization, the possibility of survival is very less because there are numerous predators are there in the pond or anywhere else, so the chances of survival are very less. That's why the female produces a large number of eggs. So therefore a large number of eggs are produced by the female because the survival chances are very low or the very less. This type of fertilization is known as external fertilization, and it occurs in frogs, starfish, fishes, and many other examples. Now the second one is internal fertilization. It is just opposite to the external fertilization. When the fertilization takes place inside the body of the female, then it is known as internal fertilization. The definition is, it involves the fusion of male and female gamete inside the female body. When the male and female gamete fuses inside the female body or inside the fallopian tubes of the female body, then you can say this type of fertilization is known as internal fertilization. Now chances of survival of offspring are more. In this case, in case of internal fertilization, the chances of survival are more than the external fertilization because there is no predator, there is a protective layer that is inside the body, so the chances of survival is more than the external fertilization. Therefore a small number of eggs are produced by the female, so there is no need to produce large number of eggs, so female produce a very small number of eggs in case of internal fertilization. And the examples are humans, cow, dog, hen, etc., etc. So it was all about the fertilization event. Now we'll talk about the third step of events in sexual reproduction, that is post-fertilization events. Now we'll talk about the post-fertilization events. After the formation of zygote, after the process of fertilization, the post-fertilization events takes place, in which two important events are, number one, zygote formation, and number two, embryo formation or the embryogenesis. First of all, we will talk about the zygote. What the zygote is? As the result of fertilization, a diploid zygote is formed. It is the first cell of all living organism. Now what is the meaning of diploid? Diploid means twin. Suppose that it is the human zygote, and human zygote consists of 46 chromosomes which are 2n in number. Obviously the male or the sperm consists of 23 and female consists of 23. These 23 plus 23 is equal to 46 chromosomes in the zygote. So it is called N, means 23 chromosome. It is also N, 23 chromosomes. N means haploid, and when both the haploid gametes are fused together, then a diploid zygote is formed. So the zygote is always diploid in nature, and it is the first cell of all the living being. Now in case of some plants, after the formation of zygote, it does not germinate immediately, it takes a rest. During unfavorable condition, it forms a cyst around itself, cyst or the protective covering around itself, and on return of favorable condition, the cyst is broken and the zygote germinate and converted into the embryo or in the new organism. So in case of some plants, it occurs in case of some plants. After the formation of zygote, the next step is embryogenesis. Now what is the embryogenesis? Embryogenesis or the embryo formation means formation of the embryo from the zygote. The zygote is always one-celled, as you can see in the diagram, while the embryo is multicellular. So this multicellular embryo is formed by the cell division of zygote. This phenomenon is known as embryogenesis. So during embryogenesis refers a process of development of embryo from the zygote. So development of embryo from the zygote is known as embryogenesis. And during embryogenesis, there are two important processes takes place. Number one, cell division, and number two, cell differentiation. Cell division, as we know, there are two types of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. Here mitosis cell division takes place. So during cell division, the cell get divided into large numbers, but during cell differentiation, each cell differentiate into different kinds of cell. As we all know that our body consists of numerous types of cells. That for example, our liver consists of liver cells, our bones consist of bone cells, our nervous system consists of neurons or the nerve cells, our kidneys consist of nephron or the urine vestibules. So there are different kinds of cells are present in our body. So it's not possible to produce the organism, to produce a complete organism with a similar type of cell. So it is very important to have differentiation. Without cell differentiation, the organism formation can't take place. So the cell division and also the zygote, cell differentiation takes place. Again I repeat, differentiation means what? A single type of cell can produce all the other types of cell. This term is known as cell differentiation. So during embryogenesis, the zygote undergoes cell division as well as cell differentiation. As the result, different kinds of cells, tissues, organ systems are developed in the embryo, and thus a complete organism is formed. So as the result, different cells, tissues, organs are formed, thus a complete organism is developed completely, and this is known as embryogenesis. So it was all about the post-fertilization events. In this lecture, I have completed the topic, the chapter. I hope everything is very clear to you. Still, if you want to ask any type of question, then you may ask in the comment section. I will provide all the links of this chapter of my previous lecture also in the description box. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.